the recording too.
Yeah.
So, hello everybody. My name is Skizone. It's nice to meet you. I'm a new junior coach on this server. Usually I'm an inter, but I'm good on macro. So yeah, let's just
Usually
get
I'm an
to.
intern.
Yeah. So we have to make it interactive with them. So
True.
today I have a PowerPoint to present for you. It's about wave management, made by me and Kazardius. So I hope you will enjoy it. First of all, definitions of minions as income. We can look past through it. What does it mean? Does it mean like gold only, or does it mean like XP only? What does it mean? Actually, it means all of them. Like from the minions, how much they give per wave, and how much gold and XP they give per wave, and how much damage do they do per one wave. So here I have full detail, how much XP, how much gold, and how much damage do they do. So like a normal wave with XP at early stages of the game, it gives 270.63 XP. With the cannon, it gives 363.63. Total income, it's from 99 to 105. 99 why? Because on mid lane, until 14 minutes mark, they will get with -1 gold per each minion, per like melees, casters, and cannons. A cannon wave, it's around 159 to 195 as gold income. And as damage, who is surprisingly well on a normal wave, it's like 108. So that means on a champion, like let's say a tank, let's say a Mundo, he starts around 800 HP if he buys a Ruby Crystal and 2 pots into a game where he wanna rush Bammy Cinder. So that means 8 auto attacks from this whole wave will actually kill him. With the cannon, it deals in total 149 damage. Any questions until now? No. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on. How much do you know about minions? This will be such a boring thing for you, but I hope that you will find it like fun and you will learn new things about it. Like, let's just get to a simple tactic. Like, why does minions on the first wave come more faster? Does somebody know about it?
Me.
Nobody. Okay.
Yeah.
So minions are coming faster on all the lanes because they are ghosted from the base. It's just like our home guard when we just respawn and we go either to put vision or something if we are junglers, or to just hover over and invade or something like that, you know? So they just get kind of a home guard, a ghost, and the first wave will always come faster. Another thing that it's interesting about them, since minute 15 to minute 25, every minion, it will increase the movement speed. The minions will start with 325 movement speed, and they will have around 425 at minute 25. Any questions until now?
Wish, I guess, if there's anything that you're like want to ask about, there is no stupid questions.
So another thing who I didn't mention here, and I'm sorry for it, it's about minions having level on depending on your team. So let's just say your team average it's around level 15. That means your minions will have level 15, while if the enemies have like a average of level 13, they will have the minions level to level 13. So your minions will be more powerful. So you can siege faster, or you can destroy towers faster, or you can abuse them into your enemy. Stack up some waves and just kill him. Okay, let's move on. Minions pushing. Here, it's more likely to have for higher reloads, because this is a lot of information. How much they deal on tower average per lane, plus team level. So Damage reduction and bonus damages again. They scale up with the damage from they scale up with the level from the team. So average level on team means like your team is more ahead with levels. Your minions will be more ahead than the enemy's minions. So that's a plus. And here are just infos. If you want, I can give you some minutes to just look through it, like the bonus damage, the damage reduction, uh, on every like siege, you will have bonus damage.
Yeah, I don't think this specific information is that very important in game. It's more like this is a feature inside of the game. It's good to know that it exists, but you don't need to know the specific damage numbers or
Yeah, I
anything
think
like
if
that.
somebody was interested into it.
Yeah, just
Okay.
mentioning it.
Melee minion stats, aka Garen OTPs, I call them always because they are
Hey.
there for everything, you know?
Hmm.
So let's just look at their stats. Always they give 20 to 21. Why would I say 20 to 21? Because again, mid lane until 14 minutes mark, they give 20 gold only. Their XP, it's based from 60.45 to 75.4. Their health, it's from 477 to 1300, based on upgrades of level. And here is the damage, 12 to 80, attack speed 125, range 110, and armor, it's based on his level from 0 to 16. They don't have magic resist, so they are actually good into APs. So APs could kill more faster the melee minions than actually AD champions. And they have an interesting unique. So their basic attack, like the tower, when it's shooting the melee minions, it takes like 3 shots of the tower to kill him, yeah? So that is only because he's unique with 45% of the minion maximum health. It's pre-medicated by tower damage. And as well, as I said, it's 1 less gold before 14 minutes mark only on mid lane. Okay, let's move on. Casters, aka the crying AD carries. Why do I say crying AD carries? Because they are all squishes, yeah? You kill more faster a mage, a caster, than melee. Then get an OTP or how you want to call it. Same thing with stats, health, attack speed, attack damage, range. They have a lot of range, but they don't have resistances. They have 0 armor, 0 magic resist. So that's kind of why you can actually kill them more faster. They give from 13 to 14 gold. The XP on them is 29.76 to 37.12. Their health is not that big of a deal. It's 296 to 485. And their AD, it's actually important because this will help you out in a lot of fights on 1v1 on top lane or on mid lane. If you stack up the casters, they give around 24 to 120 based on upgrades on the level of them. Their range it's 550, so it's a little bit bigger than Kaisa, if I think about it. And the
Yeah.
same, they have a unique. Sorry, I was smoking, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just
Yeah.
gonna say that it's per minion as well. So think of it
Yeah.
like this: 24 times 3. If you're tanking 3 minions, it's basically tanking another champion. Yes, the attack speed of the casters are a little bit lower than usual, but you can't be standing inside of a minion wave at level 1 and expect to beat someone else with similar strength.
Yep. They take reduced damage from towers, so 50%. You see, only 2 tower shot they need. And their damage, it's actually modified on towers per health. So tower basic attacks are modified to deal 70% of minions' health as premedicated damage. So that means only 2 tower shots can kill those guys. Okay, let's move on with Siege Minion, or aka the little boss. How would you rather call it? They still have a lot of stats. So like uh cannon minion or a siege minion, how you wanna call it. It gives around 60 to 90 gold at the beginning. Uh and their XP is so important because it's 93 XP. So try to not be zoned out on early stages from them because they give kind of the most XP. Like you can leave 2 melees, but stay in range at least for a cannon, who will help you out with your next level and next power spike. Their health it's actually big. It scales from 912 to 10,850 based on level, and their AD starts from 41 to actually 10,039.5. Wait, what?
Yeah,
Okay.
also quick mention is also that the cannon minion is the minion that scales with gold the highest. Meanwhile, like melees and ranged only get increased by what, 1 gold or so. They always stay the same. Meanwhile,
Yep.
cannons in the late game will give 90 gold. Meanwhile, in the early game they only give 60. So missing a cannon in the early game is less punishing than mid to late game, even though early game gold is more important. But always try to get the XP, like Skizone said. Like the XP is very important to get for the cannon. So try to not lose too much in thinking I need to get the gold if it means you're trading away half of your HP pool to get it.
And watch out on these guys. Like, uh, if you stay around them, you see they have 1.0 attack damage. So that means they hit 2 times while the casters hit once. So it means it will stack up to 82 damage on this one specifically. And on mid lane, for sure, the sieging, the classic ARM, it's getting rewarded with 30% bonus attack speed while attacking a tower. So they will get bonus attack speed if they attack a tower. So let's say it's on tier 3, you're at their base. So just keep in mind that pushing mid actually destroys the tower faster than on sidelines. And for sure, if they have Baron, they can outrange the tower with Baron. Let's move on with Super Minions, aka the GG Gamer. Why do I call them the GG Gamer? After you take an inhib and it's not like early inhib, with them you can actually siege other lanes because you open one lane, so you move for the other one. While the GG Gamer it's pushing one side of the lane, let's say top lane, we can push bot lane and have double prio for it. It's just like a Yorick with his ulti. He sends his ulti on bot while he goes top.
Yeah,
And like
you're
this has
basically
double
getting
prio.
another player. Like you have another
Yeah.
player that pressures a side lane.
Yep. So their stats are actually so big, in my opinion. But the only problem with them is like they don't like mages at all. So mages will wave clear so fast because they have magic resist minus 30 while they have armor 100. They have a lot of HP, so it scales from 1,600 to 11,500 based on level. They have a lot of health regen, 67.5 to 80.68 per level, and they have a lot of attack damage. They start from 230 to 1,225 on level. They only spawn if you break the inhib, for sure. And they take medicated damage from towers actually to 7%. So one tower shot doesn't mean anything for these guys.
Yeah, so to do the basic quick math on it, it's gonna take more than like 15 tower shots almost to
Yeah,
kill one of these. So just keep that in mind, that just leaving a cannon, like a one of these minions on your tower, is gonna result in a lot of damage for that tower, and it's gonna take a lot of time removing it, which is why it's considered a sixth person in the side lane.
yeah.
Because you can't ignore it. At some
But
point, they're gonna start bashing in your tower, especially if there's more than one.
but the fun part about them, it's like they have reduced damage against towers with 50% of their AD, and against inhibs or nexus, they have reduced damage to 87.5. So that means it will be a normal cannon, as stats wise,
Yep.
as damage.
Also, quickly to mention, it does say it there, but they do give extra resistances to the rest of the wave as well.
Yeah,
So if you are something like an Aurelia and you could like last hit the backline with a Q without super minions, doesn't necessarily mean you can do it while there's a super minion around.
yep.
Yep. Go ahead.
So now that we know what minions are, what do we do with them? Most of the cases. Uh, we can actually do some nice things with them. Kill them to get golden XP, obvious. Push with them to get some towers or tower platings, another obvious thing. Or create big waves to destroy tower or set up a tower dive. They give us roaming timers, so minions are actually our friends who we should abuse most of the time because they
Who
sacrifice
should
for us to get
abuse?
something. Yeah.
Use, not abuse, man. The poor minions. Don't abuse minions. Stop minion hate, man.
I do not hate them, I love them. When I stack up a lot and I tower them, I love them.
Bro, they even said that. Nah, nah, poor guy. Poor
I
minions.
mean, how can we abuse them and macro manage them actually? So there are some ways how can we abuse them. One of them is fast push. Second of them it's slow push. Third it's freezing. Fourth it's three waves crash, and 4.1b like patch with the AD carry cheater recall because they are still cheaters because they got a buff on AD carry. So yeah, five it's two waves crash. And the sixth one, it's letting the wave push. And the seventh one, who is actually so important, but it's more prior on higher levels, like high low. It's freezing to base. It's a little bit trickier at the beginning, but after that you will get into it. So let's start with the first one. Let's start with the freeze. Are you being pressured by the enemy? It's one way to actually freeze a wave. So if the enemy jungler is just camping you non-stop because maybe you're the wincon of that game, you can actually freeze under your tower. So you fast push or slow push the waves into the enemy tower and they bounce back all the time. So like that you can have a freeze for you. And you can deny a jungler to actually gank you because like that you force them either to break your freeze or either to tower dive you. One of two. So you waste the time of the enemy jungler while your team can do something else like Drake, kill bot, tower dive mid, or something like that. The
Okay,
second one,
real
it's to
quick.
deny. Yep. Sorry.
So quickly to explain what a freeze actually is, it's when the enemy minion waves are more than yours by a minimum of 4 minions usually. You can do it with less, but it gets harder. And they're outside of your turret range, meaning that the wave will always push towards you, but it's going to be parked right outside of your own tower. There you go. Go ahead and continue.
Yep. And the perfect one, it's actually with 5 casters. So if you have actually 5 casters with full HP, the freeze will not break even if you AoE them. Like if you don't hard AoE with full abilities, it will not break.
Yeah, the
The
more
second
minions,
one,
the easier it is to keep it. Yeah.
yep. The second one, it's to when you do a freeze, you try to deny XP and gold as much as possible from the enemy laner. So let's say a scenario where I have 5 casters in the next wave who is like cannon minion. So I know I'm more stronger than my enemy as champion identity or something like that. What can I do with it? It's I kind of sacrifice his time to stay on one bush to get only XP and me to get only gold because he cannot walk up. He knows he will die. Or I can either just zone him off the XP and gold as much as possible for the laner to be more behind to open something, maybe with my jungler, maybe a gank. Or maybe I just run him down and kill him with this freeze because I'm a lot more stronger. It depends on scenarios, of course. Another thing you can do with it, it's to farm up while you're slightly behind. So let's just say you are, I don't know, a Yorick against an Irelia, and Irelia it's with 16 more CS ahead than you. That means a kill. What you do is just freeze until he comes back. And like this, you deny him the gold and the XP while you took the XP and the gold. So you are kind of equal in this scenario.
Okay, I'll just repeat a little bit what you said, just in case someone misunderstood it. So, the three situations that we've mentioned for now when you would like to apply the freezing mechanic is if you're really far ahead, meaning that you can zone your opponent off the wave, or just in general get a lead because they can't walk up to farm it. If they do, you just run them down because it's a long lane. If you're behind really far, or rather slightly, so that you can't get dove because you're like close to your tower, so you can always just be safe while also trying to catch up to your opponent that's stronger than you because you get to farm better and he gets denied minions and XP for like because the wave is on your side, so it's harder for him to farm it. And then also it's easier because you can also set up your own jungler, you enable your jungler to gank you because it's again longer for him to his own tower for your opponents.
Another thing you can do with the freeze, it's when your opponent, let's just say you take a trade with him and he had like a bigger wave, but you didn't fight in the wave. So you are far away from both of the waves. Let's say you're on river, for example. So you fight it on river and you are around like 50 to 70% more HP. So you are healthier and he immediately needs to take base, otherwise you kill him. So when you have an advantage of health and he's 1 HP, he's basing. That means if he pushed the wave until then, you can create actually a freeze, and like that you deny him again XP and gold. So you will be again in front with more. Um, Another way it's just like when you're ahead and you want to impact your lead in lane. As Kazardius said, you open your jungle for a gank to run them down either on the lane because the lane is so long they cannot get to their tower in faster time even if they have like flash, and you can actually take the lead with it. Like the freeze is creating you more lead than you have and you want to keep your lead right there where it is. You don't want to lose your lead somehow and you don't know how to do it. The freeze is your friend actually.
I will mention real quick that there are downsides to freezing as well. So, in the opportunity where you want to freeze and you're behind and you die while freezing, you're going to lose the entire wave, setting you very far behind, which is one of the dangers. So, it's like you need to try to recognize when you are in kill range. And the other thing as well is obviously, since the wave is always on your side, you never get to touch the enemy tower, meaning that you won't be able to get the tower, and also you will not be able to get plates. So those are the only two factors where that you're missing out while freezing. Like if you die while freezing, it's really bad. But other than that, you should be safe for freezing in most situations.
What you can do with the freeze, it's another strategy if you have no roaming timers. Like you see your mid laner pushed, and then they clear the wave, they base, or your jungle it's on the opposite side of the map and you have nothing to do, like Herald is down, the Scuttle is down, your jungle has cleared everything. When you have nothing to do and you want to get a little bit of lead, it's just good to get the freeze if no roaming timers are opened and you're strong. So the scenario is when you are strong and you want to impact the map somehow as top liner, because right now it's so hard to impact as top liner because of the TP changes, the meta changes, everything just changed into it. The herald changes with 2 plates now giving 1.5 plates if you don't pay attention to it. So you kind of need to do something with that time you spend on top. Like it's not all the time only 1v1 the whole game and then going into ARM. Sometimes it's 1v1 and then I go for a 2v1 with my jungler or with my mid laner. But that will be on another PowerPoint where I will explain this more better. Okay, let's move on. Or actually, no. Let me give
Yes,
you
if
an example
exactly.
for the freeze. I'm sorry.
Show an example of how to
Yeah,
do a freeze,
I
and then
don't
we'll.
know. Oh, perfect.
Oh, you have it directly like that.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
I said I hyperlinked it. So right now we are in a match with two bronze players. This is me. This is Kazardius. What I'm gonna show you, it's something that he did. So let's just recap it. We are at this point. I have one CS lead in front of him. I have only D shield and potion, while he has longsword, D shield, and two potions. So let's just move on and show you how the freeze is going. It will bounce back the wave, as explained. And now all he has to do is just chill out. So this is actually an interactive thing that I was thinking with Kazardius to do. What with an item lead that I just explained you. What do we do at this point as Darius, as POV of Darius? It's A, B, C, and D. A, let the wave push into the tower. B, trim a little the wave for a freeze. C, trim the wave for a kill. Or D, all in the orn.
Yeah,
I
guys,
give
you
you some time.
feel free to throw out a guess, or if you think you know the answer, just let us know. Like, just say, I think it's A, I think it's B, C, I think it's D. There's no wrong answers here. Just take a guess, and then we'll try to go through the options.
You let the wave push into you, you trim it, and then you run the on down the lane because you're Darius and you have Ghost up.
Yeah. Do we have
Okay.
any
Yeah.
other?
Yeah, I would just I would just bounce the wave.
Let the wave push into your tower.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
if I'm Darius.
Yep.
But okay. Anybody else?
Tomato, did you cheater on the third wave here for the longsword?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna get back to that clip, what happens before as well.
Yep.
But yeah, that's exactly what I did. Okay, you can probably just start the
Okay.
clip. I don't even know what you put as the correct answer here. I think there's multiple correct answers in here.
We will see what he does and then we will explain.
I mean, usually here, like, I feel like Orn's wave should be much bigger and then you have to trim it before fighting him. But right now it's so even that you could have just all-ined him. I
So the only
don't think
reason why I didn't actually all in is because I was down a level and trying to fight someone while being down a level, even though I have an
yeah.
item lead, is gonna be slightly
Yeah, makes sense because you also
disadvantageous.
don't have the second point in Q, which is your main damage already.
Exactly. So if you can try to trade, like if you know that you're gonna hit a level up very soon, then it's more efficient to try to
To
get that
trim it
first
before.
before
Yeah.
trading, because you get increased resistances, HP and armor and damage. So you're gonna take less
Hmm.
and deal more if you take the level up first.
Yeah, so
And
you froze the wave, essentially,
Yeah,
kind
so
of. Yeah.
what
at
ends up
this
happening
point,
is we freeze the wave here. Yeah.
yep. At this point, it's a nice thing to know. So we are level 4, and Orn it's like level 5. So he has a level advantage. Meanwhile, he has a wave in front of us who's bigger. So at this point, Orn could force the wave to move into the Darius tower, yeah? But as champion identity, the Darius actually wins against Orn, even with level advantage at this point. Because he's more safer under the tower, and let's just say the jungler it's patting from bot to top. At this minute, he should be at the red buff at least. So Orn it's a little bit opened to a new gank. And in this scenario, this is the freeze. We need to trim only the 2 millies because we have a cannon. It's not the best freeze ever, but we tried it. Though.
Yeah.
Anything to add, Kazardus?
No, I think I could have pulled the wave a little bit further so the freeze is easier to hold. And
Yeah.
just as you mentioned, I could have possibly tried to look for an all-in sooner here. But since we were trying to mainly show off on how to freeze, there wasn't. Can you go back to the options so we can like try to explain why?
Yep.
Because I think like most of them have merit to them, but some of them are easier to execute. So the reason again why the all-in I think is bad here is again the wave is kind of still big, so I would trim it out a little bit. So I think D is not really correct at the moment. You would want to wait a little bit so Orn gets closer to your own tower, while also trimming the wave and the process to maybe get level 4 first. B,
trimming
very safe option in my opinion. Yeah, go ahead.
and C and D are kind of wrong because as Darius, you wanna keep the freeze like most of the game for you to just run down the enemy.
I mean, that's what it is. You trim the wave
Yep.
for a kill, but you still get the kill once the wave is already closer to your own tower.
That refers to like right now to trim the wave and then move on for a kill, while the wave it's almost at the own tower.
Yeah, no, that's if that's the like the interpretation that you're making, then yes, C it would be the wrong condition. But I don't think like that's like you can interpret it as like you trim the wave now, so that it's like still pushing towards you, and then you can start looking for a kill once the wave gets closer to your own tower. Then we have A, which is let the wave push into your tower. If you're afraid that you might get like dove or ganked, and like let's say Orn pushes in the wave and then his jungler shows up to make sure you don't freeze, then that's gonna be your only option. You're not gonna contest two people on a wave when it's pushing towards you. But yeah, I think mainly B is probably the best and most safest option for all of these. And D is just D and C both are too aggressive. Like again, it's too close to the enemy tower. The Orn also has phase rush in this game, so he's even safer. So like the range you need towards the Orn's tower is higher than if you would have something like grasp. Yep, that's about all I had for this clip. You may continue with a slow push.
Let's move on the slow push. Oh no way!
Run button, run button, run
no
button.
way!
So wait, press escape,
Okay, escape.
and then go down to slow push.
Yeah.
Then in your bottom right corner, bottom right. There you go. Click that one. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
There you go.
So slow push. I hope you like this. What do we understand by slow pushing? In many cases, it's just less hitting. Less hitting means when the enemy minions are 1 HP and you just basic attack them. That means last hitting on a short interpretation of it. Or killing the enemy caster for the wave to do a lot less damage on your wave. So this is the two scenarios where you can go with it. So it's either last hitting or it's either bursting the casters to create a slow push in most of scenarios, because The melee minions, they will have a lot of armor at that point, so they will be harder to kill, while the caster's minions are easier to kill because they have no resistances and they have low HP. What do we do with a slow push? We can build up a big wave. We can create pressure on lane with it. Let's just say we have 3 waves and we just want to trade with the enemy because we have a bigger wave. We have an advantage of on lane. If he tries to trade with us in our wave, he will for sure die into it because our wave is dealing so much damage. If I have a wave stacked up, even 2 waves, it's enough for an enemy to die, in my opinion. It gives your team time to roam, to rotate to objectives while the enemy tries to catch the wave. So let's just say you 3 waved into his tower. So you have a roaming timer with your jungle or your mid laner onto something, on a herald or something like that. They did the same on their lanes, like the mid laner did the same on his lane, you did the same on his lane. So you have a timer there. So if you don't stay in front of the tower, you just move on with it and just rotate for it. Rotate for objectives, I mean. Um, sorry, the cigarette. So let's just say that they don't like the CS. The enemy doesn't like the CS. It's a queen on top. He cares about roaming, and you push 3 waves into her. Okay, you are rotating with your jungle on like Herald. What does it happen if she comes for that objective too with her jungler? Well, you are pretty safe because you shoved in 3 waves worth of gold and XP. So if she decides to do that, you are safe from the fact that you have gold advantage over her. So you can just back off with your jungler, with your jungle if you are not strong enough, and she will lose a lot of gold and XP. So you came there only on a win, in my opinion, because she will lose so many resources that she cannot came back with them.
Yeah, so what happens is you're open up to like make a play while your opponent is forced with the decision, do I follow and risk losing everything, meaning that you die on the play and then also lose the entire wave? Or do I just do the safe play, which is catch up and be even in CS and risk my opponent to be able to impact the Herald fight, for example? And they're put in a very awkward position because let's say the optimal play is if the queen gets slow pushed on to then just have her team disengage the fight. Just be like, okay, let's just sit back, wait for Quinn to push out the wave, and then we can maybe look to fight. But then again, this is solo queue we're talking about, so nobody will ever just concede a fight or back off. They would rather just take the fight and then blame someone else when it goes wrong.
Yep. Blame AD carries.
So
Okay.
yeah, so when a slow push happens and you know you're about to do a fight, or rather when you would like to do a slow push is when you know your jungler is on his way top, he pinged he wants to do Herald in about 40 seconds, and if you can time it right that you just crash in a big wave to the enemy tower, you have a timer to help him without losing anything in return. Normally you'd have to give something up in order to make a play, but if you slow push the big wave, you lose nothing or close to nothing compared to what Quinn would lose in this case if she wants to match your play. Again, if anything doesn't really make sense of what me and Skizone are saying, just ask us to repeat it or reformulate it, and then we can try to explain it in a different way. Other than that, I'll give a couple seconds for any question, and then I'll let you continue, Skizone.
Yep, for sure. I wanted to say the same.
Yeah, so do we have any questions regarding a slow push or a freeze right now that you like have on your mind? Can be anything. There are no bad questions. Go
How
ahead.
do you freeze with Urgot?
As
If
Urgot
Urgot
or against
Uh,
Urgot?
with
against
when you're playing Urgot.
Okay, so when you're playing Urgot, you have your shotgun knees, yeah? Who deal like 50% of your damage empowered, so deals more damage. You try to go around the minion who is dying, like with the front of your shotgun knees, and to break only two of them without AoEing the wave. So that means no Tiamat, first of all. And let's just say you have, I don't know, a longsword or something who is not Tiamat. You just go in front of the melee, or on his left or on his right, and you just proc that shotgun knee. So you play around it because that shotgun knee is off cooldown. You try to don't AoE the rest of the wave. So you can play with left side, with right side, but try to not AoE the wave most of the cases. If you are strong with Urgot and you want to make a slow push and deny the enemy, you can play with your back side shotgun is from your back, you know? So you break those ones and you farm only with those one who are off cooldown.
Do you have your league client open right now, Skizone?
No.
Because otherwise what you could do is just
Yeah, show
at
him.
the end of it just show what you mean, because I do feel like it's kind of difficult to follow when you say like, oh, you go left of this minion, you go right. Like it's very hard to visualize what you're saying in this context.
It's
I
more
think
simple.
it might be easier if you just show it, or if you have a quick clip of it as well.
Wait, I think I have a photo here with Urgot on the lane. Okay, so this is Urgot, yeah? We have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shotguns, yeah? Just like this. We can see it. Let me download it and make it actually bigger. Okay, just like this we have it, yeah? So when I want to go, let's say I will draw a line on it. Show me epic pen. Fuck. This is the minions, yeah? So this is one melee, this is the second one, this is the third one, okay? So what position should I get for Urgot to just less hit and slow push? If I'm in front of the enemy, like I said, like I have a lead, I know I can kill him if he just walks up to me. I go with this one because it's not AoEing the rest of them. It's not AoEing the other two melees.
I'm
So
assuming you would
let's just
also
say,
walk up to it, like you walk closer
yeah,
to it so that the
you
AoE
walk,
spread is less.
yeah. So like these are the melees, these are the casters. I'm already in the casters and I move a little bit forward. I stay like this and I shotgun need this one. And I move around it. I move like this and I drop it off cooldown with no shotgun knees. Okay. And then I move to this one, no shotgun knees. And on the casters, I can move the same like this, no shotgun knees. Or if you need, I told you only two of them. So let's say two melees are down. Yeah. Let's say the melees are right over here. Okay. So this is the three melees. One of them is going around or it's staying in front, how you want to say. Because they have cringe RNG on them. 0.05 seconds they change the RNG of target, if I remember correctly. So you have these two in front, this one and this one, let's say. I go for this one because he's one-shottable. His health bar is like one hit. Yeah, one basic away. So I can go right in front of him. My positioning should be like right over here in front of him and shotgun him with the freeze. Or other things you can do on Urgot, it's actually just stack up the wave, and if you have a problem, like let's just say you have only 3 casters, okay, on the middle of the lane, and you don't want to shotgun need them, but you have no waves otherwise, so you just drag them to the middle bush. So you go in the middle bush, you drag them to the mid of the wave, and you start again with the freeze. But this will be on another PowerPoint. It's understandable, or if you want, I can just hop on the client and show you.
No,
Yeah, I
I
think.
understand.
Are you
Okay.
sure?
Okay.
Because like I had
Yeah.
a little bit of troubles understanding it myself. But we can do
I
that
can
later. We can
show,
do that
like,
later. Yeah, no, we can do that later. Let's just
okay.
continue for now, and then we can take specific
Yeah, yeah,
demonstrations afterwards.
yeah.
Again, any
Um,
other questions? Or it was a good question, by the way, Angela.
Yep.
Yes, you may continue.
Okay, so I remained at this for setting up a crossplay on map, actually, when you split push. So let's say, oh, you split push, you slow push. So let's say you slow push like 3 or 4 waves, or even 5 waves. It depends how much did you spend your time on a slow push. Let's say you have 5 waves and you have a TP and you see a juicy bot laner. You can TP for that, like crossplay map, or just rotate to mid from that scenario because you will lose less. You rotate to mid because you have a TP up, and let's say the Drake is up. You give a timer for your mid laner to actually go to Drake with the bot lane and with the jungler while you collect the wave from mid. And then if you have problems and he crashes it faster, like let's say 1 wave or 2 waves, you can either TP back or do something else, or remain on mid and give 1 plate because it's not a big deal. Other things you can do with a slow push is denying XP and gold, but by threatening other laners. That means like you're stronger in the scenario. Let's just say Urgot versus, I don't know, Riven, because it's favorite for Urgot and it's actually funny. Um, you are an item lead in front of her, so with the slow push that you do, you want to zone her away from the wave. So like that, you deny her experience, but in the same time, you don't go way too far for you to get the gold. If it's clear. If not, I reformulate this in other sentence.
I think you're going a little bit too specific right now,
Yeah, yeah, I
which we
should
can do
make it.
later, but
Yeah, yeah,
try to keep it a little bit more general of like where you can apply it to more things. So instead of like mentioning Urgot and Riven, be like if you're in a favorable matchup, and then go
okay.
on with like then you would slow push to get the advantage of getting plates or be able to roam to mid lane because the opponent in this case has a very safe champion, or let's say a ranged champion, so they'll be able to poke you off of you being able to walk up to plates, and then you would be behind and have to recall.
Yep.
Or they have very bad wave clear, so maybe a slow push makes it so you can actually get either a good dive, like it's going to take them a while to clear the wave, or just you're going to have a longer rotation timer because again they can't just insta clear the wave and push into you, meaning that your timer that you've created because of the slow push is increased, meaning you have more time to do whatever you wanted to do, whether that's to recall or join a fight at Herald.
Yep. The third thing of this is it gives you time for base. So you slow push into the enemy tower, and then you have a timer for basing, roaming, or warding. The try bush, the normal bush, warding maybe the rift or something. So the slow pushes are giving you a lot of time, as Kazardius mentioned, because they cannot burst it out. And the fourth thing that you can do with a slow push, it's creating a bigger wave to harass structures. That means um, if you slow push with a lot of waves, like 3, 4 waves, and you just let it be under the enemy tower, again, they cannot burst it out so fast, so the tower takes damage. So next time when you come back onto lane, the tower will be almost broke with 1 plate or not, or almost 1 HP at that plate.
Also, you didn't miss one thing here that I also think is very important, especially if you are playing ranged top laners in this case, or even something like Aatrox or Mordekaiser, is when you do a slow push, you'll have a lot of time of actually harassing your opponent while they try to farm the minions. Where with the like ranged poke spells, so for Aatrox it would be his Qs, for Mordekaiser it's his E and Q, so and for ranged champion it's like balancing auto attacks and moving out of tower range. So when you're slow pushing in, you get a lot of time where you can poke your opponent And if you poke them enough, you either force them off of the wave, or you can just straight up dive them and then deny them the entire big wave you slow pushed in.
Yep. At that point, I wanted to go after tower dives potential.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about sieging, harassing the tower. Only the tower, and then I was referring to the tower dives.
And then you're gonna do the dives later. Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. Thank you, though, for explaining.
Yeah. No, but like you can't set up the tower dive before poking. I mean, not for everything. Obviously, there are some champions that can full health dive you, but they're very rare, especially when towers are getting buffed and damaged, meaning you have less time to execute it. So poking makes it a lot easier, and I was specifically focusing more on the poking champion's playstyle, like a ranged top laner or an Aatrox.
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
Like Timo, like a Vayne, like Urgot can poke you under the tower if you go for it. More Timo and Vayne, yeah.
Yeah. Timo and Vayne are also very two good examples of champions that would try to make sure you don't get any single farm while being under tower, while they slow pushed in the wave on you.
Yep. This is an example that me and Kazardius did with the slow push. Again, we will have an interactive thing with what should Kazardius do in this case.
Again, if you did pay attention earlier, we already spoiled the answer.
Yeah.
But anyways, go on, guys. Shout out your answers. Nothing is the wrong answer. Well, maybe one of these answers is a little bit troll, but the other ones can always be argued. You spelled it wrong.
Look at what show. What show.
It's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone? Any
What
guess?
shall Darius do?
So can't you just zone of the Ornn and focus on the waves at the same time?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you can get multiple examples.
Don't worry, Skizone. We'll give him the correct spelling later.
Yeah.
It's fine. So, what's your answer, Angela?
I would both A and B.
You did A and B.
Yeah.
I would say you hit the nail completely, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think you
I would actually
completely
call for
nailed it.
support.
Yeah, exactly. I would call for the roaming Janna jungle, please. A level 1 gank top, please.
I'd bait peen my jungler until he comes up.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm baiting. No, but A and B are the two correct answers here. You can play the clip now. What ends up happening is I could probably do A little bit more if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
and we do have another example where I do that a little bit more.
Yep.
But yeah, you can play the wave now, and then we'll.
Yep.
So right now I'm not really zoning him that much. We don't talk about that missing that minion, but now we're zoning a little bit more than earlier.
A question mark. Why are you not zoning me?
Yeah. I was being nice on you, okay?
Yeah. Thank you. What can I say?
And as you can see, the Ornn is playing very respectful because of the level difference and also like just the champion difference in general. And now you can pause real quick.
Yep. I wanted to, but
yep.
YouTube is not letting me.
So what happens as soon as the wave is completely outside of the tower is I will expend all of my resources to hard shove in this wave as quickly as possible. So when you reach to the wave where you want to quote unquote stop slow pushing and actually push in the last wave, because if I were to just last hit this wave, it would still slow push in. Like I wouldn't be able to stack another wave on before it reaches the tower. Exactly.
Yeah, right here it will stuck.
Yeah, it would just put the wave in an awkward position if I don't try to push it as fast as possible. and also it gives me extra time. Again, we talked about the timer earlier. It would give me extra time the quicker I push in this wave. Basically, I have a time frame of, let's say, 40 seconds, and the quicker, like, it starts ticking as soon as that wave arrives. So as soon as the third wave arrives, let's say the 40 seconds starts ticking down. So if I can clear the entire wave within 10 seconds and recall, then I still have another 20 seconds to get back to lane, which would probably lead to me not losing a single piece of CS, which is why this is called a cheater recall. Anyways, you may continue, or do
So
you
hold
have
on,
anything to
before
add?
you continue, I actually have a question here. So in this spot, like right here, where this is frozen, is it more? Would you? Is it worth like maybe not getting some of those minions to get it through, or should you focus on getting every little piece of gold?
Look what I'm doing. Like, I'm missing a lot of minions. Like, when I'm slow pushing, my first goal is to get it done as quickly as possible. And then obviously trying to, let's say, get the cannon is maybe a little bit important. So you losing like maybe a second or two just to secure the cannon gold is maybe acceptable in my opinion. But my general focus when doing a slow push is to just get the wave out of there as quickly as possible to make
So
use of
you
the
can
time.
drop the 3 casters there, and it doesn't really matter because you're
Well,
getting the XP
I won't
anyway.
drop the casters, but I might miss, like, if I were to like just try to actually get all of the minions, I would probably get all of them. But when I'm slow pushing, I might miss one or two or maybe even three in order to like not stop auto attacking.
In my opinion, if you have 12 casters, okay, it's kind of fine because like that you get equal with, let's just say you get one more caster, yeah, that's 13 plus 60 plus the gold income from a normal thing, so you get around 300 and something. Yeah, let's say 400. Let's just round it up to 400. So 12 CS means 400 gold at this point if you slow push only the first 3 waves. So I'm referring only at the first 3 waves with only 12 CS. So if you don't miss the cannon, you actually have 400 gold to spend. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
the main goal is just obviously the first two waves you want to miss as little as possible because you're just last hitting.
yep.
But the goal on the third one is, yeah, it's nice if you can get all of the minions, but if you're sacrificing a lot of time by just like standing there and waiting for it to be last hittable, then I'd rather you miss 2-3 CS in order to get an extra 10 seconds of time. Because again, you're coming back anyways, and if the time that you wasted trying to get these CS is going to be equivalent to the time where you would miss a CS while coming back, and that minions that you would miss by coming back, you would miss both the gold and the EXP. Meanwhile, here you would only miss the gold.
Yep.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, continue the clip. So as you can see, like, I'm not really trying to ever stop auto attacking. And then on the cannon, I waited a second extra in order to just secure the cannon.
And as I said, like without that 21, he still goes around 400 gold, even if he base here, because he will take 2 more seconds. So plus 2 gold and plus 8 seconds recall, plus 8 gold. So when he
It's
comes
16
back
gold.
and then,
It's 2 gold per second.
oh, it's 2 per second. Okay, I'm bad.
Yeah, it's barely less. It's
Yeah.
like 1.95 or something like that. Or maybe even like on 10 minutes you gain like 1 extra gold, then 2 gold per second. Something
So
ridiculous like that.
still at 13 minions, his this gold when he comes back
Yeah, if you
and
perfect
staying
CS it,
slow.
you get like 500, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. What could Darius do now? What do you think, guys? It's a jitter recall, maybe drop vision into enemy jungle, maybe invade with. I'm referring more with your jungle, the enemy jungle, or he should stay on lane at this point. After he slow pushed the 3 waves.
Go on,
What would you
Angela.
do on this scenario?
What could Darius do?
I mean, this
Like,
one's an A.
well, yeah, he could cheat a recall, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But the option of invading enemy jungler, depending on how weak their clear is, and you know that they started bot, it's completely a viable option as well. Getting vision in enemy jungle is also completely a viable option. Staying on lane though, as Darius versus Ornn is non-acceptable. I think that's a waste of
staying
time.
on lane,
So
it's a
that's
waste.
definitely wrong. All the other options are doable. In this case, we're in a custom game, so there's no enemy jungler. But yeah, going into enemy jungler in enemy jungle is completely viable. If it's
Though,
not something like maybe a Trundle or maybe an Elise or something that maybe even an Olaf, maybe you wouldn't do that, and especially if the top lane you're against also has a good move, like you would get killed. But if you're
those
strong, then I think it's completely fine.
those two are
Why?
good in only one scenario, and I wanted to specify it only if the jungler starts on both sides. So if you
Yes.
keep the track of the jungler starting both side,
Well,
then
dropping
you can.
vision still helps you because the second if they start topside and you go down in ward, it would still catch when the jungler comes back to take Gromp. So
Yep.
let's say the enemy jungler started blue buff here, and then path down. They would be recalling at around. They would be
257,
back at
they are
around
on
4 minutes.
Krugs. If they
Yeah,
are full clear, they are on Krugs at this point.
no, they're just finishing up
Finishing
red
red.
buff because
Yeah.
most clears end between 320 to 340, or I would say even in lower elos, even between 320 and 4 minutes. Depending on how fast the clear is, they would be on the
Depends
buff
on the
or the
champion.
last clear. Yeah. But I would
Because
say most of the
with
champions
Viego,
would be on the
I
buff.
finished at 3.8, 308. I finished with Viego with Fiddlestrix 3 and 12.
That's
So
impressive.
yeah. That's why, because I know some of them. Like I have a spreadsheet from Felaris, and I'm just watching it sometimes to just understand the enemy jungle clear.
Again, but in general, think of it like this. Usually around 3 minutes, they should be on the buff. And then on like 315 or 310 to 315, they're usually on the last camp. In this case, the Gromp or the Crooks, if they're full clearing. If they gank, these timers obviously change. So if you see them do a three camp bot, then it might take them even longer to go top. Again, the vision gives you a lot of information in that case as well. So I think the vision drop is always an option if you don't feel like you need to recall or you missed some minions, so your cheater recall gets bad. But cheater recall and dropping vision are always two staple options.
I'd recommend always to cheater recall if you have only 350 gold.
If you're an
Because
AD
like this,
champion. Yeah.
if you're an AD champion, yes. Because like this, you have longsword. If you are a tank and you have only 300, it's still fine. You can recall for a armor cloth.
Or
But if you
boots.
are a AP, that's the other scenario. It's kind of hard because you need either like 435 for your ramp tone or 300 for, let's say, like boots, or 300 for the starting Zonia. Maybe they have something, I don't know.
350 for Dark Seal as well.
Yeah, and 350 for Dark Seal.
Which is usually how Singed used to do it. Back in the day, they used to start Dark Seal and then they would get 350 and get another Dark Seal.
Yep.
For the extra potions. But yeah, anyways, you can continue the clip. We're already over 1 hour of recording, just mentioning it.
Yeah, I told you it's 2 hours the session.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 hours, and the other one's also gonna be 2 hours. But we don't have to make it take longer than necessary.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the clip.
Yep.
Okay, not this one. No.
We'll get to that one eventually.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on with fast pushing. Okay. What do you understand, guys, from fast pushing without seeing all of this? Like, just imagine what do you feel about fast pushing? How do you feel it's impacting the map with fast pushing? At least, what's your opinion on fast pushing? Is it good? Is it bad?
Go on, Angelo, answer.
I mean, it's good when it's like, oh my god, my jungler's like getting ran down by Warwick in the bush in the river right now.
Okay,
Okay,
you
so you're saying when the enemy is not on your lane, it's good the fast push.
No, like when I
no,
need
no,
to
no. It's
rotate to the fight, like now,
When you need
because
to rotate, okay.
no, no,
yeah,
no. Okay, okay. So, what is the sense that you get then? Like, what is the sense that you feel when you mention this? It's a sense of urgency, right? A sense of
yeah,
being somewhere else. So, what is your instinct? You need to get rid of your wave, or the enemy wave rather, as quickly as possible to then be able to fulfill that sense of urgency that you just had. To be like, I need to be there, I need to be there, I need to be anywhere realistically. And
Yep.
doing that as quickly as possible is what fast pushing achieves you. Because speed is the only real thing you get from this. You don't deny your opponent more, you don't get more, you just get to be where you think you need to be as quickly as possible. Yep, go ahead. I'm sorry, I just took over that one a little bit.
It's fine, it's fine. You explained it perfectly. What can I say? So to create a fast push is so easy because it's the opposite of of slow pushing. Instead of less hitting the minions, you actually just go psycho mode and you just all in the minions most of the cases. Um, when is that good to just do is just like mentioned when your jungle is taking a 1v1 and you already stacked up some waves, you can just all in the wave to rotate. Okay. For a river fight, over a scuttle, over nothing, just to be there on the fight. Maybe it's just like on that clip with with 3 waves. The last wave you have to fast push to set up for a dive, to not be in a cringe spot under his tower when your jungle is coming. Or if your enemy is off the lane, so let's say, I don't know, you have the AoE of an Ornn, because I can fast shove waves at level 3. And you actually don't like to slow push into an enemy like Darius, because you know you will die. You can just fast push that to bounce back into you. So you kind of don't lose anything out of it. You actually deny him if he's gone from lane. Let's just say, like that example, he just cheater recall. He has around 20 seconds mark that he could get around tier 1 and just walk around it. Just maybe he's dropping some vision or something. I don't know. Because some of them are taking so long to come back to lane. You have a timer for you to just fast push a wave, to just not be in danger of something happening, to not give them a freeze, to not give them anything. And the other one, it's just like, oh, okay, so the jungler is coming on top lane, okay, or on mid lane, or everywhere on the lanes. I just fast push this wave because I know if I stay longer on the wave, I can die or be ganked, like be ganked and died. Is this making any sense for you, or?
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
sorry, Angela, that you're like the only active member of the current
Yeah. Is the session
presentation because
Hazard the
this
Skizone and
it's yeah
Angelo?
it's a very awkward time for both EU and NA, so
Yeah.
it's understandable that not a lot of people have time to be here. But yeah, so if something doesn't make any sense, like there's nothing wrong with being like, "Yo, Skizone is making no sense right now." What the dude's saying, man? That's
Yeah.
understandable. I get that like once every like 20 seconds, you know. That's it's just like what did he say? Didn't get it. Repeat. No, but jokes aside, just like if anything is unclear, especially like things that you feel like are important for you specifically, let's say we mentioned your champion and you feel like you didn't understand what was going on, then just be like, yo, can you just like repeat that real quick? Like there's like we're not going to take any offense to it whatsoever because again everyone learns differently and needs to have things repeated to them and sometimes you just zone out. Like I've zoned out like 2 or 3 times, but since I
Yeah,
already
well,
know, I've already went through this PowerPoint a couple times, I still know what was being said even though I zoned out. But like if you zone out and you don't know what we're talking about, it's gonna be like you're just gonna hear words and then nothing actually registers at the end of the day.
Yeah, like it's not a shame to just ask again. Maybe I don't explain it well and I can reformulate in other sentence and just explain you on other ways, you know?
How
But
many
yeah,
minions do you need for a dive?
For a dive, how many minions? It depends how low it's your enemy. In my opinion, you can even dive with one wave if your enemy is low enough and you are strong enough.
yeah, it
So
also depends on your
recommended,
champion.
I recommend always like 2 waves or 3 waves stacked up mostly. So with slow push, you get that
The
scenario where
more
you
you can get, like the more minions you can get before diving, the better.
Yep.
Because even if you, let's say, even if you could do the dive on 1 wave, why not just slow push in 3 waves? Because then you'll be denying those 3 waves when you kill them. Even if you die yourself under the dive, you deny your
Is it
opponent
so,
more the bigger the
so is
wave
it
is.
worth it if I do a 3-wave crash and on the 3rd wave at level 3, as Jack's tower dive and kill the Kane and I die under tower?
Always worth it.
It's still worth because you didn't lose anything.
Exactly. So if you can slow push and if you can dive your opponent and you can trade 1 for 1, it's 99.9% of the time is going to be worth it for you. The 1% where it's not worth it is either if you have a big shutdown on you, or if you're playing into something that's like gonna hard outscale you, like let's say a Kale or something, and then you trade 1 for 1 while you're the early game champion. Like let's say you're playing Pantheon versus Kale, and you trade 1 for 1 and you only deny the Kale like 3 minions because you like fast pushed in the wave and you dove her, then maybe that might not be worth it because then she gets to her
But
power
Pantheon
spikes.
scales Scorpion.
He does, but I was just taking an early game champion and a late game champion as an example.
Kled.
Yeah.
Does Kled scale?
I mean, every champion scales, but it's all about relativity, meaning that, yeah, no, so like level 18 Draven isn't that bad, but if you compare it to something like Kog'Maw or Jinx or even Kassadin, then it's like, well, I guess it doesn't scale that well compared to those champions.
Is Kog'Maw even a champion right now?
Yeah, with the Rift Maker.
I want everyone to know that that was probably something called a joke. I
Mhm.
didn't know Skizone made those, but hey, we
Me
learn
too.
new things every day.
Okay, well, how many minions do I need to dive then if the enemy is like a 4th health? I'm Garen, level 6 with full rotation.
Okay,
Is your who's your opponent's champion and what level are they?
I don't know, just some random bruiser or tank.
just some random bruiser tank.
Mention,
mean,
just take a random champion.
Yeah.
Ornn. Let's go.
Ornn. Okay, let's
Ornn
do
is
Ornn.
not a bruiser. Ornn is not a bruiser, please.
Ornn is everything. Anyway, okay, so let's say it's Ornn.
Bruiser tank assassin.
So
it's
you'd
Ornn,
need
and you have said
probably
you have
2.5.
level 6, yeah?
Yeah, you have level 6, Ornn is level 5, because you've probably slow pushed in the wave, so he should be level 5.
Let's just say it's one more wave coming. You can either just look to fast push it, or you can either just wait your minions to get in time with the other minion wave that you stacked up, and then fast push the wave, because like that you create more minions. And if he tries only once to hit you while you're on your wave, he will die only because of the aggro. So usually as much minions as you have, it's more better. So if you stack up more waves, it's more better for a tower dive.
Yeah, and how you'd execute it, again, you'd walk under tower calmly, you would start hitting the tower. And then
Yep.
as soon as he auto attacks you and then probably uses his E, which is like the dash plus knock up, wait until that calms down and then you calmly finish your combo, which would be auto, Q, spin, ignite, ult. And then if you need to flash out, you flash out. But yeah,
Yep.
that's definitely doable. Just have to look at, basically you look at what your opponent has available in dashes plus like CC mainly. If it's like something like a Vigar, obviously the execute ultimate is something to look out for as well. But in this case, we're saying that we're level 6 and they're level 5. So the ultimate is not available unless they manage to thin out the wave to the extent of getting level 6. But even then, it should be too late at that point.
And one more scenario that he doesn't want to fight you, you just go away. Like if he is going only for the wave because he knows you have level 6 and he's level 5, you don't go all in because he will run away. You will get aggroed by the tower where he can combo you. So let's say you go all in into him. He didn't aggro you a lot. He is away and then he Q doubles you. He Q W you. So like that, he can slow you with the Q. With the W, he can deny you your Q and stay away from your wave. So that shouldn't be so helpful for you. You know.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
already.
So if he doesn't take minion aggro, meaning he doesn't auto attack you, then you just hit the tower for free and get like plates instead.
Yep.
Yeah, but
And
what
if
if
you're
it's
afraid, he will kill you.
Mordekaiser, where he doesn't have to auto attack me? You can just Q.
Well, if it's Mordecai, he'll probably auto attack you anyway because he wants to get his passive, and he can't get his passive without auto attacking. But I would say it's a lot more difficult to execute a dive on a level 5 Mordekaiser than it is on a level 5 Ornn, in the fact that his shield really just is really annoying to deal with because it's so much. Like he's very tanky even if he starts tanking minions. He'll always get a fully stacked shield on you unless he uses it. So in Mordekaiser's case, I would say if he uses E, he auto attacks you and he already used his W. Like let's say he W clicks it like before you walk under tower, then you can look for the all in. So like it's basically a checklist on the champion you're playing against. Be like, okay, what's his crucial defensive ability? What's his crucial mobility? So let's say you're planning on diving Tryndamere, level 5, but he didn't use his dash yet, like his spin. Then maybe you should try to wait for him to use it. If they don't use it, you could still go for it if they've taken enough damage from the minions because of your silence as Garen. So you still get to like have the silence timer when you can stay on top of them, and then once they try to dash away, you can maybe execute them with Ignite ult, or maybe even flash after and try to execute them.
Another thing with risky and I'm doing against Mordekaiser is just like I'm letting him Q basic twice for his passive to activate and then just run away, try to dodge his E or something and then just run away because you will not get aggroed by the tower. So you sacrifice your HP for one nice thing. You deny him gold because if he activates the passive and you play around your minion wave, they will get aggroed a lot. So kind of like that, you deny him a lot of gold if he doesn't know how to properly farm.
Yeah, so it will
And
put the
you will
minions in an
lose a lot.
awkward 8 HP spot to try
Yep.
to CS them. But
Yep.
that's more advanced. I wouldn't try to focus on that. Again,
Yeah.
we're trying to keep it very simple at the start. But yeah, the main thing is try to look out for what is the danger spells. Like what is the defensive spells and the mobility spells are the two things I would look at before level 6. Obviously, level 6 is usually one of their bigger danger spells to look out for. So like, let's say you want to dive a Kale. Well, her danger spell is her ultimate, basically, and then also her Q, because it slows you. But other than that, she doesn't really have anything that's like good against getting dove. If that makes
Even
sense.
more, if you tower dive him at level 6, he can 100 to 0 you with a perfect combo. Actually.
Yeah. Anyways, you may continue.
Okay.
We've derailed a little bit, but that's okay.
I mean, it's not a problem. We make it interactive. I said I want this. Like, it's more better.
Yes.
And then just me talking, blah, 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 you know?
It's
So another
fine.
thing you can do of fast push, and I'm abusing this, it's when your enemy laner, let's just say he doesn't have refillable at all, he doesn't have potions or something to heal, and he's low. Okay, and I know that the jungler it's on the other side, on the opposite side of the map, so I can pressure them by only fast pushing into them and maybe opening a tower dive. That's the only scenario I would fast push into a tower dive. When he's low on resources, he has no way that he can climb back with HP out of a potion or a vamp chapter or something like that. And I can just pressure him only by this.
Yep.
Okay.
There we go.
Let's move on then. Oh yeah, one more thing here. Keep an eye out for the fast pushing. When you fast push, you always go into the enemy territory, and we know that top lane it's a long lane. It's not like mid lane where you can just go, okay, I'm here, and then I move back on my tower with one flash maximum. Top lane it's a long lane where if you stuck up into fast pushing under his tower, you're more open to ganks. You're more open to free roams from the mid laner. You're more open to just do nothing because fast push has a downside of it. You just take all the resources, okay? Let's say you perfect CS, but in the same time you give him free CS and gold with the fast push if he's on the lane.
Yeah, and our goal is always to like put our opponent as much behind as possible to make our own impact greater, if that makes sense. So if you can decide whether, like, if you could choose between getting yourself ahead by 150 gold and giving the enemy 150 gold, or you getting 25 gold but then denying your opponent 300 gold, I would rather take that deal. Like you getting less gold but denying your opponent more, rather than trying to be just a little bit ahead but also giving them ahead. It's easier playing you're on the same level as everyone else, but the enemy laner is lower level, than you being slightly ahead of everyone, but your opponent is also still in the game. Like he's still on 2 items, but you're on 2.5 items, rather than you being on 2 items with everyone else and him being on 1.5 or 1 item.
Okay.
Anyways, you can
Let's
show the
just show
video
next up.
on how to fast push. It's very simple. Is it really the fast push? Oh, right. Yeah, no, I think I remember this.
Yes. So
This
what's the
is gonna
proper
take a
way
while.
to play this on this case? So we see this state. Ornit's dabbing on us because we are having level 4. So
In my mind, I would potentially, since I'm weaker here, I would let this crash so that way my minion wave bounces. And since I have the wave on my back, it puts me on offense and I'm in a stronger position to start pushing the wave.
okay.
That would be correct if it's not or like if the champion matchup isn't in this case favored for Darius. And if you are looking, it's still the same game. We do have other games recorded as well. But in this case, we do have an item advantage. So yes, Ornn is slightly stronger than us gold-wise, like in stat-wise because of level. A level is like roughly, I think, 600 gold.
Yep.
But we are stronger in all-ins as a champion. So
Because
we would still
we
be
see over
fine.
here he didn't buy anything. The one didn't buy anything, so
Because he
we still
hasn't reset yet. Yeah, so we do have our gold advantage there, but we're behind in XP. So what I would try to do here, or hopefully do here, is just try to thin out the wave and keep maintaining the freeze until you can actually look for the kill. Exactly. So B and D combined, basically.
I didn't know how to formulate, so I put the same.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can play the video. Since I'm pretty sure you put like waiting time in as well.
Yeah.
So
Right.
and if Ornn ever wants to like try to trade, 3 minions aren't enough for him to win the all-in. Just because of the champion designs itself. We did pick this matchup because it's kind of easy to recognize like who has the better all-in and who has the better like poke.
So here, as we said, we try to maintain the freeze. Even though we break the freeze, we still have like 3 casters who are blocking him from doing something. So we are slow pushing. With the slow push, you see Ornn cannot move forward, even though he has level 6. He knows that Darius' potential to get level 6 is not that far away from him. Because he didn't deny a lot for Darius, so he is thinking maybe, oh, this guy should be this bar when he's
Yeah.
hitting. So if he AoE with a Q and W on these guys, plus this guy, and the W on the melee, he thinks that Darius will get level 6, so like that he cannot pressure the map, the lane here. That's why the Ornn didn't go in.
Yeah, so Ornn doesn't have, as you said, like the information of when Darius hits level 6.
Yep.
If Ornn would have known that Darius won't hit level 6 for at least another melee after this, or at least 2 more melees, he might have gone all in here.
Yeah. Here another question. So we see this scenario right over here. Even the Q will go off like right now. So we know he doesn't have Q and we have all the things up. We are almost level 6 as Darius. What shall we do for it? Do we go for it? Do we go for an all-in on him? Drag him out, drag him on our wave, so maybe bait him. Wait a bit, maybe he wins because he's level 6 and we are still level 5. Or we need one more level. Or we hit the wave only. What do you think is the right answer?
I mean, I would go for C. I don't think there's any world where you all in them without 6. I don't
Okay.
know. I'm not a Darius player.
No, you're correct, but C
Yeah.
and D is basically the same answer, and the fact that we need level 6. So what we need to do is we need to position ourselves further to the right of the queue that's about to pop out, so we don't get potentially all in, even though Ornn has made it clear that he does not want to do the all in.
Yep.
But we're about to see what's gonna happen. So again, our goal is to get level 6 and then all in him. That's the goal. So we'll see what happens. Did you put like 20 seconds on this?
No, right now it will pop out.
The war goes in, we get level 6, and then we fight it.
So here another question. After we kill the Inter, what is next? That's the biggest question you should ask all the time. Like
Yeah,
after
like
I kill my opponent, not
what
like
happens now?
not
Yeah.
the Inter. After I kill my opponent, what shall I do now on the map? Like he's
This
not.
is 100% where I have most questions. I would see and get it under so I can back, but I have a feeling that's not always correct in every
Okay,
situation.
so but in this case, I'll give it to you. Sorry for spoiling. It is correct, but why? Why is it correct to fast push in this case?
Mm,
I'll give you the answer so like you can like just either guess or just be like, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Just you have information on the screen right now towards why we need to fast push this. There's
well, you're
two
low.
or three main reasons. Yeah, we're low. That's step number
You're
one.
low. You have a lot of gold.
We have a lot of gold. Okay, then I guess it's 4 reasons. Yeah. One is a little bit tricky, and the other one I'm gonna let slide because it's a custom game. But
Yeah.
again, we're low, meaning like we're in danger of dying, either to Ornn with teleport, which is the third reason. So Ornn is gonna TP back, meaning we won't have time to slow push in. Because if we do that, we're kind of out to dry and open to get frozen on. Option number 3 is we can get ganked if we stay around too much on low HP. And then the most important one, in my opinion, is the resources we've spent. So we just used Ghost and Ultimate, and we're low. So we have nothing. We have a lot of gold behind. We have no resources. And we just need to get out of here. So our goal is just to get out of here as quickly as possible. We have an urgency to leave the lane. So that's what we talked about earlier when you want a fast push. We have an urgency to leave and spend our gold. That's our goal. If I was full HP and let's say I kill him without using my ultimate or ghost, we don't really have an urgency to recall. Yeah, we have a little bit of gold behind, but we still have potential to do a play with the resources we have left. So the urgency is less, oh, we won't really get killed. If we get ganked, we can still avoid it with our resources, maybe even outplay it with ghost and ultimate. And again, if Ornn comes back, we're still stronger than him. Most likely. I don't know how much gold Ornn has at this point. But we're probably still stronger than him in the all-in. So there's no real danger there if we were having more HP and still having Ghost Ultimate.
Had the Bam Cinder double clot.
Do you have a slide where you wouldn't fast push this and you'd just back?
That's the one we talked about later, which is freeze into base. But in this case, you can't freeze it.
Yep. In this case,
it's already slow pushing, so you need to get it
Yeah.
out of here as quickly as possible.
like if I drop with some seconds behind, like at this point, we see our wave. So our wave arrived more faster. His wave is like 1 HP cannon, okay, and 3 more casters. Who one of them it's already dead, in my opinion, and the other one it's one with half HP. The other one with 75% 75% HP. So it means this would never freeze. Okay, so if all of them, like if this cannon was full HP, if the casters were full HP, yeah, I would consider basing into it.
Yeah. If it's still a freeze, even though we just executed the all-in, then yes, you can just insta recall and then come back to the frozen lane, because again, Ornn is still forced to teleport back. I don't know how much attention you paid when I pressed tab, but he does have TP flash. If he doesn't have flash or TP, then it's even better because he's not going to be back for sooner. But then again, then you have the option of still slow pushing, because he's going to take longer to get back. Meaning you'd get the slow push benefit and you'd still get the benefit of getting more gold. So like you would have a bigger timer.
I have this issue in a lot of my games where I'll kill them, right, close to my tower, and then by the time I can shove it into their tower, they're back as soon as I crash it. I back, and it'll be maybe like a set or something, and by the time I get back to lane, they'll already be at my tower, and they'll have like 2-3 plates taken.
Yeah. So that's something that's like, you need to like try to figure out. Sometimes killing your opponent actually is detrimental because of that fact, right? Because of the fact that they'll get back in time to either freeze on you or push in the wave quickly enough to where you're kind of screwed. Like they'll just bonk the tower a couple times and then you've basically lost 3 plates, even though you killed them and all you did was try to recall. So try to figure out which case. In your case, let's say it's the same case, but we won't have time. Like we're not Darius, and we have something that doesn't have wave clear. The best option would then just be to recall anyway, and then come back. Even though you'll lose a lot of minions, that's still better than you trying to push the wave in, them coming back, having the option to freeze on you, or just because again, if they freeze on you, you're still low by the time they get back. If you recall instantly, they can still try to freeze on you, but you're back in the lane with the gold advantage that you got and XP advantage. Make sense? And you get the HP advantage and the gold advantage. Yes, not the XP advantage, HP advantage.
So I have a case here after this rolls down, and like we can show you, like, let's just look at this Darius, okay? So his plan, it's only to fast push. You see how he uses every resource, like his W, his Q, his everything. And right now, even if I TP, like at this moment, only with flash I can hold the wave.
It might still be in like range if you like E out and then pull it, but it's even if you do that, like you have Bamis, you said, so it's like it's still gonna like burn the minions to the point where if I get back, I won't lose as much.
Yep.
And also notice that as soon as the wave is pushed, find the quickest way to recall. Don't try to run back anywhere. Just like find a bush or a safe place. Doesn't have to be a bush, but like go into the alcove or whatever. Just find as soon as you can think you can recall. Just press B.
I even recall I press B at this point. Wait, let me show you.
Yeah,
Right now, after this,
yeah, I could
immediately.
recall here as well. The only reason why
Yep.
I don't do that is because Ornn, like, if I get ganked here and the jungler sees me, I'm kind of fucked. If I'm in one of the bushes, I still have the chance of like them guessing the wrong bush, and then I'll still get out of there.
Yep.
Or them thinking I ran back, and then they won't even like they don't see me there instantly, so they just back off.
You have one thing that I hear in my that I don't in my games.
And that is
It's a knowledge disparity. You know your wave's gonna make it to the tower. It's not gonna get stuck. I don't, so I'm stuck in lane for a little while.
okay. So that's a
Longer
very
than you
easy
are.
fix actually. So what you do is you look at your minions. Because by the time your minions get to your last tower, it's the same time when the enemy minions hit to their last tower. Make sense? Like the minions are walking at identical speeds. So they meet at the middle, right? Like in midline, like they meet at the very center of the whole map. They don't meet randomly, sometimes closer to the enemy tower, sometimes closer to you. They always meet at the same point. So that means they move at the same rate. So if you look at your wave, when they reach any tower, is the same time where your minions reach that exact tower if they're not contested.
Yeah, and I have trouble visualizing the meeting point. Like I can see where like my wave is, right? Like coming, and I know that's where their wave is, but in my mind will not draw the picture of where both waves are gonna end up.
Yeah, so right now you
It,
see a Skizone did it on the map where the wave
Just
is.
here.
So the enemy wave is just now reaching there. Can you point out on where it is? Where I can't see it on the map? Where like the
Yeah.
enemy wave is? Yeah, so that's where our
So
wave
the
is. So
enemy
where's the
wave
enemy wave?
here.
Exactly. So the enemy wave is right down there. Make
So
sense?
I would call it is good if you fast pushed already destroyed them. Like if the wave was on the tier 3 is the perfect one to fast push. But if the wave it's on tier 1, you already need to finish the fast push. Otherwise they will just meet
Yes,
here.
this will make it under tower, but it's close. Right.
So just try to look. Okay, the minions are at tier 1. I should already finish because if I go right now, let's say right now, Darius just goes for fast push and all that wave was up. Okay, he will not manage to go into the enemy tower, and Ornn can freeze here. Make sense? Like I always look for the
yeah,
where is my wave? So
Exactly.
just
you
imagine
gotta
where
get
is my
you gotta
wave?
get the wave moving before it goes past
Yeah.
Yeah.
your
Also, one
second
thing to
tower.
mention
I
when we're
label them
talking about
backwards.
this. Yeah, one thing to mention when we're talking about this. This is also how you identify slow pushing, whether or not you can make it like stack another wave. So
Yeah.
again, let's say the minions are just spawning out of base right now, and you're slow pushing, or you're already on their side of the like their side of the lane with your slow push. You already slow push like one or two waves, like two waves probably. Then you're probably not gonna make it be able to stack another wave by the time. Even if you stop auto attacking the minions completely, you're probably not gonna make it all the way through.
So in this zone, if the minions are like right over here on the base, for you to understand more simple, you fast shove it, okay? Because you cannot just wait for the next wave because it will not arrive and it will just remain like right here on his tower. So
I
like,
got one
okay,
thing as well.
what?
I got
Hazardous?
one thing as well. So
Oh,
remember also that the timers of where the minions touch the tier top tower is every 30 seconds. So in exactly 10 seconds, is when the minions will reach the exact amount of the tower itself. Exactly there.
Yeah.
Is when the first melee hits that tower in exactly 10 seconds. If you look at the top timer, it says 620. Exactly 10 seconds, those minions will be at that tower. In mid lane, it's a little bit different because they hit sooner. I'm not sure what the timer is there.
25 seconds.
Yeah, so it should be 25, yeah. Maybe even shorter because like look at the minions in mid. They're like almost there already, so maybe it might even be shorter. But play the
So the
clip.
minion waves
Just think
arriving
25,
at
because they're like behind this with like
Okay,
325.
start the clip. Start the clip.
Okay.
Just continue it. And then
Right now,
pause.
22 seconds. Okay.
Yeah, okay, continue.
Oh, 25, I saw it.
And pause at 30.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah. So if you
Yeah.
pause at 30, you see that the mini wave just reaches.
Okay, so the minion waves are always the minute, 30 seconds after the minute, the next minute, 30 seconds after the minute.
That's when they reach the tier 3 tower when
Yeah.
uncontested. Meaning, let's say you lose a tower and some minions are battling. Obviously, the wave, like your wave, is still gonna get to the tower at 30. But the enemy wave, even if they just got distracted for like a couple seconds, that's gonna be enough for them to not be able to meet at the middle point, meaning they're gonna meet further towards the enemy nexus. That makes sense, like the next quote unquote crash point. I'm doing a little bit more of a complex
Yeah, you're doing like I did.
complex thing here. But like I'm just trying to make you understand that if
Yeah.
nothing obscures them, meaning like there's no singe distracting the wave or like somebody pulling the wave, that's always gonna happen. Like the mini wave is always gonna hit the towers at every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
Let's continue.
Can you give me 2 minutes and I come back?
Yes, you can have 2 minutes.
Thank you.
And then we could probably look to wrap it up soon as well. I don't know why you put Shaco pictures on the cheater recall here. Seems kind of sus. You know, he's like calling Shaco players cheaters, or like what's the funny here? Like,
Yeah, I have to break stuff down into concepts or my brain, it doesn't work with my brain.
yeah, that's why like
I-
sometimes Skizone and myself included, we sometimes skip over trying to explain things because we understand them. But that doesn't mean it's understandable for everyone. And even sometimes I would need Skizone to just say it just the same way he said it again so that I can process it for myself, like basically translate it so I understand it for myself.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that because I coached a lot of high-lows
Yeah.
recently, and I'm just
And
used with.
yeah, exactly, and I can tell that by the time, like by the way you say things, because like yeah, for me it makes sense, but I also know that it doesn't make any sense for someone that doesn't already have a decent grasp of the concept.
Yeah.
Oh, that I learned kind of weird.
But yeah,
I have
anyway,
to, I have to learn in like a vague specific. Specifics don't really work.
yeah,
Okay.
It's weird.
no, it's completely understandable.
So let's get back to the job.
Yes,
3
go for
waves
it.
crash plus cheater recall. We just saw an example of cheater recall plus 3 wave crash on that on Darius. What does it help us? What does it do? Like, why did Darius did 3 waves into a crash only to get a long sword, or he could do something else with it? Why is it bugging? The real question, why is it bugging like this? Wait.
Oh, you mean that you can't see the whole thing down there, or
Yeah, can you
okay?
see it?
So
Or
I mean, we can't see it completely now.
okay,
So
let
wait,
me
so just click it again. Yeah, just close that and then just do it. Try to do it again.
let me put on desktop and then one more time.
There you
Ah,
go.
I can
Perfect.
see it.
Beautiful. Okay.
Three waves crash or cheater recall, as I call it, Shaco style, because usually it's like Shaco is like a cheeser. He always cheats to win the game. He always can do some clears, or some of them cannot do. Like full clearing or three camps into you, or you don't know where the fuck is this guy. He's invisible, just like Evelyn, but for a short time, and he always cheats to win, in my opinion.
Yep.
So three waves crash. You need to do only one thing to last hit the minions, not AoE the wave with abilities. So it's a slow push combined with not taking extended trades with the enemy. That means you don't fight with him. You don't take aggro from minions, because if you take aggro from his minions, your wave will push more faster. So let's just say you are fighting in your wave, who you have already two waves stacked up, okay? If you fight with him, you will not crush the third wave properly. It will stuck under his tower, only because you fight it, because the minions will aggro you, will take their basic attack, the little basic attack, and chunk you out to half HP at least. Is clear until here?
Yep. Keep going.
Benefits of three waves crashing. It's dropping vision for a potential gank, so in the enemy jungle. Invading with your jungle, the enemy jungler. This is a big condition, only if your jungle and you are stronger than the enemy's top laner and jungler. Because let's just say I'm random Sejuani on top invading with a fiddlesticks who likes to full clear into like Elise with I don't know, a Vi top or Kane top.
I will
Um,
mention though that solo invading is possible if your champion is strong enough,
yeah,
and is, I would say, even recommended if you're against a weak jungler as well. Like let's say you're against the fiddlesticks and you're playing something like Renekton, Darius, Olaf, even like very like strong early game champion, and you get
Urgot.
yeah.
Urgot probably too, yeah. Even Garen to an extent, I would say, even though you'd probably have to have phase rush and be a little bit careful.
So the
But
question here is, why would I invade? Like I crashed three waves, he lost some gold, he lost some XP. Like why would I invade? Maybe I die on the jungle, maybe I do something. But like this, you actually force your top laner to make a decision, either to give the whole XP and gold to actually come to you to deny a kill on the enemy jungler, or to just drop you off the enemy jungle, to just zone you out of the enemy jungle because they will be versus one. Or they just don't decide that and you kill the enemy jungler. In my opinion, if you are for sure, only if you are like Urgot, Ornn, Wukong, not Ornn, sorry, Urgot, Wukong, Darius, even a Fiora can solo invade at level 2 if she takes E, because nobody is expecting Fiora to take E and
you're
not
level
W.
Warwick
3
top.
actually. If you're slow pushing 3 waves, you're gonna be
Yeah,
level 3.
level 3, sorry.
Yep. The level 2 invade is something a little bit different and should be very carefully chosen out.
What if you're Warwick top and you have your opponent crying?
If you are Warwick top, you can just do the same.
No, you've already won the game if you're Warwick top. What do you mean? You've already ended
Just
the game at 2 minutes 30. The game was already FF'd.
Fun fact, and it's not about this presentation, with Warwick top, I always start Doran's Blade with the Potion, and I go invading immediately topside and I 2v1, because Warwick with Flash and Barrier, it's insane. Or Ghost and Barrier.
Yeah, Warwick is Warwick. There you
Yeah.
go. Anyway,
But
yep. You can
it's
show an example now, I'd say. That's a visual representation is probably a better explanation. And then also, I think we
not
can
this
actually
one.
try to.
It's not
Eh,
this one. It's the other one. This one. So I just
Yeah,
showed
this is the
this, but
cheater
I
recall. Yeah.
didn't. This is the actual cheater recall. After he shoved all the 3 waves, so we just saw this again. So he just shoved in. He fast pushes the last wave. He just goes immediately into the bush to not have vision on him, and he slams the recall, as we see here. And this gives him actually, as we see, he's looking for shops already, and he's buying a longsword out of it, and another potion. So that's the point of uh, cheater recall. Most of the cases with invade, it's actually kind of hard. I have an example right over here with 3 waves invade. I remember.
You can probably fast forward a little bit here.
Wait, why are we watching this?
It's because it's a good example on a 3-wave crash into an invade.
Yep.
Oh, I mean, what can I say? It was my
Yeah,
500
yeah.
call.
So I will
Can I
mention
say?
really quickly we are recording, and we have the jungler from this game on my side, on the right side here as well. So he did do the call out of, he knew the Mordekaiser's clear where he would be at the time, so we'd know that where Mordekaiser would be and roughly his HP, making the play even
Wait,
better
but
because of the
how do you
information.
3-wave crash before 315?
You'll see. You
Let's
can
just
keep
watch it.
playing that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
just keep it playing.
Do you like queue the entire wave here? Yeah. Okay, it makes sense. Like GP is not thinning the wave, he's letting it crash.
What's our next move, guys? What would you call it?
If it's a normal game, cheater recall.
It's a normal game cheater recall.
I mean, you can hover to protect your jungler in the sense that you can allow them to grab top,
Okay,
but
so
you give up your own time, a reset timer for your jungler in that case.
we know that we are Darius, yeah, as champion identity. Okay, let me just move like this. So our jungle told us that the enemy jungle is pathing from bot to top. Okay, so we know that the jungler is on top side. Okay, we know that our jungle is on bot side. Yeah, but in the same time, we know that we crashed 3 waves. So what would be the call?
Also, quick mention that GP is not really that strong of a early game champion as well. So even if he does rotate, he's not going to be very useful.
Anybody, anything? Angelo,
mean-
maybe you?
I would still like recall here and get ahead, but
Okay, you would
I
recall and
mean,
get ahead, but in the same time, you're strong as a champion on early game, and we know that GP is not that strong, yeah. And we know that Mordekaiser is not as strong as jungler because he needs to full clear to do something on the map. Yeah.
Yeah, but your jungler is bot side and it's still a 2v1 by the end of the day.
Okay.
being the jungler for this game, I'm just gonna say it's invading the Mordekaiser at blue and Grom because he drops about like half HP. At blue Grom, like he kind of drops HP early, and Darius running Ghost and Flash, and Mort only having Flash, so it's a very easy catch and kill as level 3.
Yep. Exactly.
if you're good at the game, it's C. If you're trash at the game, it's A.
I mean, B is also like
I mean, B
even
is
though we
higher.
already knew, like again, because we tracked where he started, but even if you don't know that, you can always get the information for your team to then be able to track him later, even if you don't know that he started bot side. And let's say he started leashless, you still want to have the information for your team, if possible.
So let's just
Anyways,
watch how
yeah,
his
just
maps it.
play the clip and then we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Okay, here I don't know why it bugs out. Just give it a
I think
It
I
always
paused it. No, I think I paused it in the recording. Also, quick notice, I did use the potion as soon as I turned the corner as well.
Yeah. As soon as he turned the corner, he used potion because of one thing. He didn't saw Mordekaiser on blue buff, yeah? So on the map, you see the camps. Like, if this camp was not finished, it will still show you that the camp is up. This is an interesting thing. So, like, he could be in bush here and dragging the blue buff here.
Yeah, but then you would see that the camp's still up on the map.
Yep. That was like
Yeah,
I was
know.
referring
Yeah,
to that.
I was
Okay.
just clarifying it. And even if the play ends here, the area still gets the lead onto the GP because of the fact that GP had to rotate and therefore he loses gold and EXP.
Another interesting thing that I want to show you, because we talked about 3 waves, yeah, is like not fighting with the enemy, you know? So at the beginning, if we just rewatch it again, to make it clear, how can you fight actually into the wave? So we saw GP here, he was moving on the mid brush, and we just did only one thing. We dropped the aggro down, and only one casters follow us. So we can actually trade for 3 waves crash, only with the condition of I don't get aggroed by this. So he dropped aggro from at least 2 casters, even though he took one. And like this, he let his slow push be on.
I think you can go to the next thing now. Again, we've
Yep.
already recorded for almost 2 hours, so and are we even halfway? Okay, we're almost done. Gotcha.
Yeah, almost.
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 Part 1 is
Okay.
almost done. Let's go.
Okay. So 2 waves crash. What is it? The 2 waves crash. Let's just call it like I traded with my enemy, okay? So I first push the wave. I cannot do 3 waves crash. It's not a problem. Even 2 waves crash is good for us because of one thing. One thing. Why did it bug down? Okay. It's the same concept as 3 waves crash. In this scenario, let's just say we have a good early champion, like a Darius, Olaf, Urgot, Wukong, Irelia. And what do I want to do? Like a 2 wave crashed into his tower. What can I do after that? Just a faster slow push into us. We can get a faster slow push into us, so Darius players would enjoy it because it will bounce back. Short time, short roam timer, where we can do something on mat. An invade with your jungle only if you and your jungle got stronger early champs. So examples for the jungle are like Elise, Warwick, Kindred, Vi, Lee Sin, or Lee Not Sin, where it's that scenario as Mordekaiser on Darius. Darius win that only because his champion identity is made for early game more than mid to late, and Mordekaiser it's made for mid to late than early game. Same as GP. GP was only for mid to late most of the cases, And on early game, he didn't have damage. So if you know that you are playing these champions, you can actually abuse this tactic. Like if you have a strong champion on early game who can dominate the map and impact the map or the jungle somehow, you just have to use it because it will make your life more easier and the other lanes more easier. Okay, if nobody says anything and everything is clear, we can go to just to show how to do two waves crash.
Yeah, I think you can do that. Anyways, if you guys do have any questions, feel free to ask.
So here is the two wave crash. We are just looking to aggro the melee only to create a slow push for the first wave, because if you kill the melee only, it's creating a slow push. If you if you kill the melee, it's creating a fast push, and if you kill the caster, it's creating a slow push. Sorry. So as we see, Darius just fast push into it. So he has the advantage of level 2 immediately. So Ornn cannot do anything, only just grab some CS with Q. And he's moving on after two waves.
So technically you could do a cheat recall for boots here as well. But then again, if you're gonna do that, might as well just do 3 waves. But that would only ever work if you get literally every single CS. Like you need to get all 12 of the
Yep.
first 2 waves to be able to get to 300 gold by the time you've recalled. Just wanted to
So
mention
here
that.
we have 3 scenarios. What should we do? What shall we do next? Drop vision to enemy jungle, wait for the next wave and then push that too, or go invade with your jungler on the enemy jungle, only with condition that they both started on both side. This is the condition of 2 waves. So on 3 waves you can go solo because you are level 3, so you open up 3 abilities. Okay? But with 2 waves, you can only do it if your jungle is up. Because jungler will have around level 3. Okay? And when you contest this, they should already be at their blue buff. So if they started from bot side, full clear, right here they will get a 230, exactly 230. They should be already on the blue buff. If they didn't go gank, for sure.
I would A.
You do A, okay. Anyone opinions? Okay, no one. So the correct answer here is actually A and B. A and C, sorry, not B. Okay, so if I have my jungler on this side, yeah, I can do this. But the most viable one, it's actually A. So most of the cases, because right now it's AD carry meta, they will all come from top, get the leash, and go to bot. While if the enemy jungler is deciding, yo, this time I will play for top lane because he's my win con, and he goes like this, it's more better to actually drop only vision than just go invade by your own when you have only 2 abilities up. If you had 3 abilities up, then yeah, I would suggest you to go in like 3 waves into invade. If your champion, and only if your champion, it's so strong on early game that they cannot contest this. And the enemy, it's actually weak on the early game. The enemy champion. Only in these conditions. Okay. Makes sense, all of it?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, as Darius, he's just looking to invade. We just pinked here because we imagine we have an imaginary friend who is the jungler and he's coming to invade. And there you would actually catch the jungler some seconds ago. At this point, the jungler should already start a blue buff. Well, it depends on his clear. He could be 75%, HP, or he could be half HP at this point. Depends on his clear, depends how he kited and did everything.
And that ward's better than just warding like river.
This word is better because of one thing. You have vision over blue buff. You have vision over Gromp. So if he is a full clear and let's just call it is not an Elise. Elise at this point she should be on her buff. If it is a full clear, you have vision over the blue buff who is gonna drag to Gromp, and you have a timer to decide, yo, what do I do in lane? Do I let him push into me? Do I push into him or something? Because at the time when he's Gromp, then you decide like, what do I do on the lane right now? Because I have vision over this, I have vision over this. I know everything it's in check right here. So after he finishes Gromp, what is his next move? Is he going only for Scuttle? Or is he going only for top lane? Or is he going Scuttle into top or something like that, you know? It makes sense.
Mm.
So this word, it's actually made only to have vision over blue buff when he drags it and Gromp. At the time that blue buff is done, it should take around 13 seconds in my opinion, if I'm not wrong. So like 13 seconds until he finishes with Gromp. So you have a timer of 13 seconds to decide, like in those 13 seconds, what do I do on lane? Plus until he's patting here into the river, let's just call it, and until he comes to your lane, it's another 8 seconds. So in total, you have like 21 seconds to think, what do I do now? At the 21 second, he should be already here or on Tribush. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then we can move on with this. Letting the wave push. So right here is just chill and Netflix every time. Like you saw me as Orn. That's an example. I do respect the Darius because I know his early game is more better than mine. I do know that his first 3 waves will always get under my tower because I cannot contest him, and if I contest him, I die. So sometimes letting the wave push into you, it's a good thing. So I let the opponent push into me with only 5 rules. When he's way more stronger than me, um, when I'm even with him, but he stacked up a bigger wave, so he created a slow push into me, and he has more minions, then I know I will take a lot of damage and I will let him push into me. And when the enemy jungler, it's around my lane, so as we saw there, it's a slow push. You always look to trim the wave if you are stronger than him, okay? For you to have a freeze. With that freeze, as we talked about the freeze, um, we just deny him gold XP. And maybe if he just comes to us, so he moves up into us to just push the wave in, we can kill him if we know we are more stronger than him. Like on Orn Darius example, if I was pushing into him, I would die. Make sense? The 5 rules of when to let the wave push?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. That's good to know. So you as Urgot, let's just say, call me any matchup.
When you're Urgot,
Yeah.
Olaf.
Urgot versus Olaf. Oof. Okay. So level 1 you win against him, by the way, if you space properly. Let's just say you don't know this and you let him 3 waves. No, actually, let's just make it level 7 to level 7, okay? So he stacks up 3 waves. Who do you think it's more stronger, you or him on the lane?
Olaf.
If you are even. Okay, Olaf. That's a great answer. That's when you have to let him push into you. When he's stronger than you. That you know that he's stronger than you. But if it was like Kale on your lane, would you let her push into you that much? Would you rather freeze or
Yeah, I
just
don't know.
let
Kale
her?
is useless.
Okay,
Level one,
okay,
in my
okay,
opinion.
okay. Level 1, she's actually strong. Level 1, she's actually strong. It's one of the
Well,
strongest champions on level 1.
not in bronze.
Oh, okay. I don't know then.
But yeah, we'd
So, y
probably want to let her push into you as well, so you can have a longer lane to all in her.
I mean, yeah, but in the same time, you can trim the wave, freeze, and maybe look for a potential flash all in.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
let's move on.
let's do the last thing, and then we can actually
Yeah.
take a break. We've been on it for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Reason to base, I don't want to go into hard details because this is more for high lows. This is hard to do at the beginning, but it's easier as you practice it, you know? So freezing to base, it's the moment when your enemy just pushes 2 waves. Let's just call it only 2 waves, okay? He slow pushes 2 waves. He creates a slow push. And at that point, he just decides to, oh, on the third wave, I will all in this guy, but he dies then. What you can do if you only have TP, in my opinion, if they have 2 waves stacked up to get the timer correctly, you can just base into a teleport. Okay, because you killed him, he's low pushed, he has 3 waves right now into your 1 wave, who is the cannon wave. And it's kind of hard to kill that wave. So you base immediately, you fast buy everything, TP back to lane, and you can still hold the wave and trim the wave for you to just freeze the lane again. Or
And
when
then
you
look
hit
for
an
another all in.
item. Yep, and look for another all in. Thank you for that, actually.
Yeah, no worries.
And the second one, it's when you hit an item spike. So let's just call it Urgot with Prowlers into Kale, because you like Urgot Angelo. And I love that champion, I'm OTP. When you hit like Prowlers into Kale, it's so easy for you to kill her, yeah? And you know that she's pretty useless. Let's just call it pretty useless when you kill when you hit Prowlers. Um, you can let her push into you, because like that you freeze and you just go all in, even though you AoE the wave. You just go all in at the middle of the lane for you to not break the freeze, even though you AoE it. Does it make sense? Or
Or-
if not, I can tell you, like, okay, we have Prowlers, okay, we are Urgot, and she's Kale. She has 2 waves on the middle of the lane, okay? We imagine this, yeah? And the third wave is coming. It has around 10 seconds to come, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, then we go for her because we have an item lead and she has like attack speed item, okay? Or boots. Let's just call it she has boots. Can you actually one tap her with an ulti?
Does she have ult?
No, she doesn't have ulti.
I'm assuming so, because you have a lot of burst. Kale doesn't have a lot of HP.
Okay, so after killing her, that means we have 2 waves who are stacked up. Okay. And we can just base and then TP back on lane, and we lost nothing. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But this is hard. Don't practice it yet. Like, I will make a PowerPoint about this. This is complicated. Like,
No,
yeah.
it'd be even harder to pull off, because like 90% of my games I have Ignite.
Yeah, I was about to say Garrett is a pretty bad example of doing that because Garrett doesn't really take TP anymore.
Yeah.
But well, maybe like once every 100 games you'd take TP, but
In some matchups.
generally you wouldn't want to have TP. Anyways, that's it for this one. You can hear it again in about 4 hours. So if you feel like you missed anything and you wanna re-sit here for another 2 hours in 4 hours, then feel free to show up. Other than that, I think we can call it here.
Yep.
This was like the practice.